Ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome to this issue briefing titled Career Pathways Rewired. My name is Guan, I'm anchor and chief business news editor from CGTN. I'm honored to moderate this important and timely discussion. So we're addressing one of the most critical challenges of our time today facing young people worldwide, the future of work in the age of agentic AI and evolving labor markets. With automation transforming almost entire sectors, the traditional entry-level jobs are quickly vanishing, and a new landscape is emerging that is one full of both risk and opportunities. The numbers are staggering. 85 million jobs were displaced by 2025, yet 97 million new ones created. So how do we ensure that our younger generation not only fully prepared for this shift, but also empowered by it? To explore this, I'm honored to be joined by a distinguished panel of experts here. Let me introduce them, starting from Professor Zhang Dandan, the Deputy Dean from the National School of the Development of Peking University of China, and Mr. Rahul Attuluri, co-founder and CEO of NxtWave India, and Georgina Mondino, curator of the Rosario Hub from Argentina. So we have frontline perspectives from China, India, and Latin America. We're also live streaming this session online, so welcome to our online audience. And if you're engaging on social media, please use the hashtag AMNC25 to share your insights. And let's jump right in. And by beginning to framing the challenges, Rahul, I want to start with you because you're at the front line. You're working closely with young job seekers in India, while half the population is under the age of 30. So paint us a picture. What is the youth employment landscape look like for young graduates, for example, who may be trained for years to code, now only watch AI do it faster?
Yeah, I think we are living in a quite very interesting times. So at one end, we are seeing economic uncertainty due to various factors. And on the other end, we are also seeing a lot of tech disruption happening. And like you rightly said, India has gotten like a lot of young population. More than 60% of the country is young. So it's a double-edged sword in the sense that, like, when we can nurture the talent and make them industry ready, it's going to be a blessing for the country. And at the same time, when the talent is not addressed in a proper way, it could become a quite challenge. So I think we are seeing two sides of the coin. So I think whenever such technology disruptions happen, we are seeing it like a J curve. So in the short term, every organization is trying to leverage on the new tech disruption and trying to optimize on the bottom line, and we see some bit of layoffs, hiring freezes that are happening, which is hampering employment for entry-level job roles, especially in the areas like customer support or frontline operations, talent acquisition, and all these areas. But I think very soon we are also seeing like a lot of companies also getting to that up curve where they have just started to embrace generative AI, and they are not just looking at it as a way to optimize or automate things, but each company is also coming up with newer use cases of how AI can create new value for their stakeholders. And I think while the short term might look very gloomy, but I'm sure 3 to 5 years down the lane, we'll be in a situation where we'll also face global shortage of talent, especially which is skilled in the domain of AI. And I think in the country, the government is quite proactive. It has been very foresighted in the sense that it has come up with initiatives where industry and academia collaboration are encouraged through various programs, especially by UGC and AICTE. So where industries can now collaborate with universities right from the first year of college or second year of college. So making them more relevant in the sense that whatever is the industry demand, the academia is well informed upfront, so that academia can keep gearing up students on the skills that are more relevant for the industry right from the early on. So to just conclude, I think in the short term we are seeing significant layoffs and hiring freezes, but at the same time, once we take a step back and look, I think it's the J curve, so it's only a short-term disruption, but 3 to 5 years down the lane, I think it's going to be an exponential surge in terms of opportunities with generative AI.
Mm-hmm. So we are both identifying the risks and also exploring the solutions. And Professor Zhang, I want to turn to you because employment is one of the top priorities for the government. From your backgrounds of education and economic policy, how do you see the broad impact of AI on China's employment? And as someone from China, I hope the jobs vanishing fast is not media staff or foreign moderators.
Okay, so Rahul talked about India. So I think India is mainly the supply issue. More and more young people in India. But in China, it's the other story. We have a declining population, especially for the young generation. So in each year, we have reduced by maybe millions of workers, labor force. So in China, the labor market issue is mainly not from the supply side, it's actually the structural issue. Each year, we have more than 10 million new graduates into the labor market, and at the same time, we create 12 million new jobs. But the problem is how to match them. It seems that the number is quite okay, but how to match them. So what I'm going to emphasize is the skill mismatch issue in China, because so it's become a serious issue for the young graduates, especially under the process of labor market paralyzation. So the paralyzation means the structural change, where we say the job growth in the high-skilled and low-skilled ends, but in the middle, the job disappeared. For instance, as a consequence, for the middle to high-skilled young graduates, their situation is critical. So if they cannot match into a high-skilled jobs, there's no choice in the middle. They have to fall into the low-skilled one. So based on my field research, we find each year during the by the end of the second half year, that means the new graduates into the labor market, go into the labor market, we can say the average education level for delivery workers and manufacturing sampling line workers indeed increases. So that means a lot of new graduates, they did these low-skilled jobs, which normally done by middle school students. And the other thing is we use the big recruitment data from jobin.com, and we try to say how the applicants match with the job, new listed job, and we find over time the new graduates matched with the jobs require low qualifications than their education. And this is increasing over time. So that means the skill mismatch is really a problem for the Chinese labor market. We need to deal with this issue, I think. Yeah.
I'm just curious, just building on that, if you have to delete one subject from the curriculum of Peking University, what would it be? I'm not questioning the authority of Peking University, just forward thinking.
Because I'm from economic, so maybe I would choose economic.
What?
I will go back to PKU, so I cannot say other subjects.
Let me turn to Georgina, because you're from Latin America and you're working closely with young entrepreneurs there. Give us, the ground level view from Latin America. How do young people view the role of AI? Do they see it as a tool or a threat or something entirely different?
Okay, so I wanted to take a moment to thank this space and the introduction, and also to make a shout out to all the shapers both in-house and at home. So the issue for young people, both in Latin America and everywhere, but especially in Argentina, which is my country, We are facing really high unemployment rates. We are facing nearly 3.6 unemployment rates, 3.6 times bigger than it is for older people. And also, it is a 6% bigger rate than it is worldwide. So that's the key context that we have to start from while talking about the country, and I think it's really similar in all of Latin America. But however, we are facing this moment where young people are taking into AI and are looking into the technology in two ways. You can either look at it as a threat, or you can either look at it as a possibility, an enhancer, a tool that help you take advantage and automate everyday tasks. So what's going on is nearly 40% of companies are looking to automate their workforce. So that may look like a threat for younger people that might be facing their entry-level jobs and might be just graduating from university and starting for the first time. But I think that what we need to do, however, and I think it's pretty similar to what Rahul said, is that take a chance to maybe look at AI not as a disruptor just in the short term, but in the long term as an enhancer to both capabilities that we learn from the degrees in colleges, but also an enhancer to young workers that may not be able to have a degree, a formal degree, or might have a formal degree, but not in technology or not in particularly these technologies. So I think it's both an issue for the youth to be facing that we need to master this technology to take a place in the workplace. Nowadays, you cannot talk about non-technology companies and technology companies. I think we are living in an age where all company is a technology company because we're deeply entangled by it. But however, I do think that there needs to be, from C-levels and leaders, some sort of reskilling programs or upskilling programs for the youth people that are trying to enter the companies, because as they said, all the jobs that used to be the entry-level jobs that we were prepared to do are now being automated. So we need to step up to different kind of jobs. And if you only have those basic jobs that Dandan mentioned, or the high level of skilled jobs, you have no middle, and all the trained professionals that are emerging for college have no space in this workforce right now.
So, you know, the companies need to invest in reskilling, right? Let me ask you this, because big corporations always say that humans won't be replaced by AI, but we're seeing a lot of companies laying off jobs across the world. Georgina, from the Argentina's perspective, how do we, you know, it's an issue about building an inclusive society. Should companies, you know, if they lay off like 1,000 jobs, should they use their bonuses to fund like scholarships for this education?
That's a really good question. I think it's always good to invest in education, in different times in education, not just traditional
The problem
ones.
is who is going to do it, right? The companies, or the universities, or the government? Rahul, what is your take on that?
I think it's a very interesting question. I think in my view, there are 4 stakeholders who need to be part of this. One is obviously the governments, businesses, academia, and as well as the individual also in some form and should take control over their career. So coming from the government perspective, so whenever such layoffs or like, you know, the hiring freezes happen, so I think it's high time that, like, you know, government takes a view at the policies and the infrastructure that they are creating. So I think in this current age, skills should be prioritized more and more over degrees, and credentialing of skills should be on a given much more priority in the landscape where technology is changing quite fast, and also bring about access to AI infrastructure, make it accessible to a broader set of the country, so that, like, you know, people, the digital divide or the AI divide in the economy in the country doesn't happen. So make it like, you know, bring about, like, you know, more and more free AI tools like ChatGPT or things like that, and like, you know, empower the young people of the country to be able to start using AI, and maybe also learn AI using AI. and from the company's perspective, they can be more forward in the sense of, I think there is always confusion among the young population in terms of what skills do they need to pick up. If companies can come forward and say, be quite forward, give some clarity on or some signals around what kind of skills are they expecting the young next generation to have. If each company can come forward and start giving clarity or some signals around, like, what sort of skills do they expect. And academia in some form and shape, I think, need a big revamp in the sense, I think the curriculums today are not changing at the pace in which the industry is moving forward. So academia should also take part in terms of ensuring that the curriculum is more dynamic as the industry evolves, and so should be the pedagogy. It's not about imparting knowledge or information anymore, but it should also focus on in terms of human skills like cognitive thinking or in terms of critical thinking, where AI gives you a bunch of output, but humans need to be well prepared to evaluate the AI output and also start looking if AI is if there is any bias embedded into the AI outputs, and interpersonal skills, collaborative skills, and I think academia need to more emphasize on learning to learn and the learning velocity of the individuals.
Yeah.
So I think, and from an individual perspective also, I think while hiring freezes and layoffs are not something in the best interest of individual, but taking this as an opportunity to upskill and reskill themselves, especially in the AI fluency, trying to be a pro user or of all the generative AI tools, be it in terms of the prompting techniques or in terms of usage of AI agents, and maybe trying to build some gig work or build some side projects which are of meaningful value to them. So I think if all the stakeholders can come together, I think while whatever the impact that we see in the short term might not be something that we can address immediately, but this adaptation phase is going to be quite crucial the next 2-3 years. If all the stakeholders can focus on in terms of how do we adapt to this changing world, I think as the opportunity and the innovations are going to exponentially grow, I think we are well prepared as a world to be able to derive value from the technology disruption that's happening. So yeah, in short term, it's hard for everyone, but just if we take this time to embrace and adapt all the stakeholders and align towards the common goal, I think we'll see a much brighter future.
You raised some interesting points, and I'd also want to discuss with Professor Zhang on China's adaptation to this shifting landscape for employment. Do you think China is adapting well, or we have championed a lot of vocational training programs, but how do we avoid training people for jobs that will vanish before they graduate?
I think it's like in India, China's education system is far behind the market needs. That's a big problem, and I think it's the main reason for the skill mismatch I just mentioned. I think we also try to find a way to recommend government to do some reform on this issue. But in practice, we say some companies, corporations, they try to involve in the education system, to design the education system. We call it order-based talent pipeline. So we already say a lot of some governments and the schools and the corporation, they work together to design the courses for specific skills for the young students. There are a lot of attempts happened in China, but it's still too little. We need to, I think we need to open the market to the education market, and allow more corporations and market powers to come in to fit this gap between skill supply and the skill demand. Yeah.
What role does technology or innovation play in this process to provide much needed education in the era of AI, because the competition is intense and we need to prepare a talent pool?
Yes, I think to solve this problem, we have to know where is the problem, what's the skill we really need in the AI era. As an academia, we use the AI technology to do a lot of research on this issue. Basically, we use the big data from dropin.com and to say what's the most demanding skills in the labor market, because we can say the new listed jobs every day from time to time, so we can say what the skills are needed in the labor market, and then we provide this information to the government and to the market, and the corporation and the government can think how to fit this issue. So I think there's some information asymmetrics issue. We as academia, we try to break this problem, solve this problem.
And talking about innovation, I want to turn to Georgina, because you're working closely with entrepreneurs. Are there some innovative solutions? Because we are not only adapting to this, we can also be empowered by AI, because it's such a powerful tool in our workspace.
I think AI today can be a democratizer of the access to these jobs. I think that there have been numerous innovations in this path. I think we're facing towards a different type of learning process, not only traditional careers that take longer, and sometimes those long times that take to finish a degree do not keep up with how fast technologies are evolving. So there's been talking about e-learning, about A-power e-learning, which I think that Rahul can also talk a lot about. But I think that what we need to keep in mind is that something that Dandan said as well, is the skills mismatch that we're looking at right now is not something that is new. We had a session earlier where we have been discussing with some peers that this skill mismatch is something that has been happening for a long time. So it has been happening with other skills, maybe. We talk about different type of skills. We have human skills, green and sustainable skills. We have business skills. We have now something that it is one more on top of the pile of skills that we need to prepare young people and young entrepreneurs to be ready to have for the job market, that is the AI and data skills. But I think that these technologies that are powered by the same new key deep technologies that will be the challenge are the one that can help us, because I don't think that the solution is in career paths as we are seeing them today, because I think that all jobs are looking into a skill change. And the way that we're going, if those jobs are going to keep evolving and going to keep needing new skills, I don't think that studies as we are conceiving them today are keeping up with that. So we need to take traditional degrees and universities and be able to leverage those with other type of learning paths that we were discussing before, to short courses, boot camps, even different organizations, so that young entrepreneurs and your professionals in general, they can experiment these new technologies. So we need, what I think is gonna sound a bit childish, but I think that we also need playgrounds so that we can test this new set of skills that are gonna be needed for these new jobs. We need to be able to pretend to be leaders, to pretend to be decision makers, to practice empathy. And the way that we're doing is not from a textbook, it's by interacting and it's by experimenting.
Well, I definitely have a lot of unasked questions, but I'd like to give this opportunity to our audience. Please raise your hand. A microphone will come to you.
Hi, my name is Amir, and I am a part of the Global Shapers community. And I actually had a question for Georgina and for anyone else that would like to answer. But we keep talking about what can companies do, what can governments do, what can universities do. But what can young people do about this? We are the ones that are being affected. So what would you say young people can do about this problem? And are there any initiatives that you already know about that have been done about this?
Okay, so happy to answer this question, and then I'm gonna invite my peers to join in as well. I'm gonna talk to my experience of what we're doing in our hub, since you're also a shaper. We have a current program that it's called ¿Y ahora qué?, which translates to now what, which is kind of the question that young high school students face once they are finishing this educational path that is high school and facing this big decision. So I think that what enriched the workshop that we go to schools to give is the opportunity to do this, to test these new skills that we are trying to let them know about, but also to identify these skills. We talk a lot about soft skills. It's a word that's been in the table for a really long time, but I don't think that we are correctly identifying what these soft skills are, and I don't think that children are correctly, or teenagers are correctly identifying what soft skills are. It sounds like a very fancy word, and it sounds pretty strange, but it's something that they do every day. So they do work projects, they are practicing negotiation, they are practicing leadership, they are practicing delegations. So I think that what enriched our particular workshop is this, is the capacity to talk from young people to young people, because we are not many years different from them. And also to be able to reassure them that, you know, it is okay. So there are gonna keep emerging technologies. Internet was a big disruption when it first appeared. And so I think it's AI right now. But this big scary sentence that it is AI is gonna take our jobs, I don't think that's true. I think that, and Professor Raquel in the previous session said it perfectly, I don't think that AI is going to take our jobs. I think that other humans that are able to master and complement and take the best advantage of AI are those who have a better shot. So I think there's no one better than young people to tell that to other young people. I don't know if that answers the question, but thank you.
I'd like to have some very concise contribution from other panelists. Maybe what's one skill that is non-negotiable for young people? Could you just name one each?
It's Gen AI fluency, I would say, in terms of be it the prompting techniques or usage of AI agents, and also trying to do hands-on, building some projects using some no-code and low-code tools of Gen AI. I think that would be one non-negotiable skill, irrespective of whichever domain that you are in.
And Professor Zhang?
I think it's autonomy.
Autonomy?
Autonomy, yeah. It's a work dependent, work by themselves. That's also suggested by the data. It's highly required.
Indeed, we need to have our own judgment.
Own judgment
independent
and
thinking.
the work with AI.
We cannot be
organized.
We lead AI.
Lead AI,
become,
to finish the task. Yeah.
Thank you. And please? The girl on the second row.
Thank you. Valentina, also a global shaper from Portugal. And just to give a little context, I've been in the job market for 3 years right now, and I already have an AI agent doing pretty much all the tasks that I was doing while I was an intern. So my question here is that we've been focusing a lot on the upskilling and how the unis should play a role on this. But actually, I would like to hear your opinion on how we can use this moment for the organizations to rethink the roles that we've been giving for junior professionals for a long time right now.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Sure. I think as entry-level roles are getting redefined, and companies want someone who can start creating value to the company right from day one. So I think the best way companies can or corporations can start engaging with the young professionals can be through various formats. It could be in the form of internships, which could last for short-term or long-term or full-time or part-time. And it could also be in the form of where corporations can start listing some mini projects, which are paid projects, where students can start picking some of these projects and start delivering value for the company, as well as build some real-world skills. I think while a full-time opportunity as an employment might not be something in the best interest of the companies, but they can start engaging with the students very early on, maybe right from the first year of the college in itself, where these students have an opportunity to engage with companies in a wide variety of formats, internships or apprenticeships or in the form of freelance projects. If companies can start doing this more proactively, I think students can start making best use of them, and they're also well prepared to be able to contribute value to the company right after their graduation, and which is less riskier option for employers, given that they have already demonstrated value for the company. So it's much more easier for companies to hire, and I think that leaves a large room for a lot of young graduates to be able to be part of the workforce.
Yes. I also would like to add something on that subject. I think that there are some really challenging but also groundbreaking opportunities for young professionals in companies. So we know that the jobs that a young professional or a young intern might be doing are not the same that they would have been doing otherwise, like data entry, customer service, the one that we previously mentioned. I think that a young professional entering a company and entering the job market for the first time brings a fresh take to a lot of the issues that the company might have been discussing for a longer time. So I think that this sets an amazing opportunity for cross-generational mentoring and reverse mentoring. So I think that the best way that young people can contribute from a different perspective is to be able to do this cross-conversation and to mentor people who have been in the organization for so far, which traditionally it's done backwards. So I think that there has to be a conversation, a feedback. And I also think that since AI can foster faster learning on some skills that are maybe necessary to traditionally change departments, I think that this opens the door to a big challenge, but also a huge something new that has never been happening before, that it opens the door to this experimentation that I've been talking about previously, because suddenly to access a managerial role, you have to get a macro view of the company, and the way that you might be able to do this is to know different things. So this ability of know different skills and take part in maybe different departments of the company can bring you closer as a young professional to developing the skills needed to make this decision-making, this critical thinking, this empathizing with other roles that previously might not have been that easy to access.
I guess no more questions? We can only take one question, please.
The journalist for the Xinhua News. One question is for the Professor Zhang. Currently, the Chinese government has promoting the vocational educations nowadays. So, what the role will be played in the AI in this process?
Thank you for the question.
It's a tough question.
Professor Zhang, we have to do it very quickly.
It's a tough question. Yeah, because in China now, half middle school, junior high middle school students go to the vocational school, and there are a lot of debates on this. Maybe some people think they should go to the university instead of go to the vocational school at a very younger, just 16 years old. They cannot make the decision which track they will go. So there are a lot of debates. I think with AI, the vocational school still have chance, because as I mentioned, the low-skilled jobs actually booming in China. And the vocational school, they are pretty much targeted on those relatively lower skilled jobs. So I think the main challenge is for university, not for vocational school. That's the short answer. And may I add one sentence to the first questions? I can give you one example in China what young people do. Actually, we have a platform called Xianyu, which is under Alibaba Group. On this platform, young people sell their idle skills. And in each year, you can guess how many new jobs they created. 320 new occupations created by the young people. So I think that's the optimistic part of this discussion. Yeah.
There's so much possibility. So let's hope we leave here today not with apprehension that AI would take away something from us, but on the determination that we can make of it, the better tools, more meaningful jobs, and the greater opportunities for people everywhere to fully unleash their potential. And thank you so much. And please join me to give our exceptional panelists a round of applause. Thank you.